On the 10th of April in the Philippines at 3:30 in the morning, 24-year-old Dina Ali Laslum had her passport taken from her by Filipino airport officials. Dina Ali Laslum was on her way from Saudi Arabia to Australia, where she intended to seek asylum. Dina Ali was then stuck on the airport and reduced to attempting to try to gain support through social media by uploading videos. Whilst this was going on, Filipino officials outright lied to the public by claiming that they had not detained a Saudi citizen, whilst in fact they were holding a 24-year-old hostage on behalf of her parents and the Saudi government, as those had arranged for her to be brought back to Saudi Arabia, where she could in all likelihood face an honor killing. Meanwhile, on social media, hundreds, if not thousands of people attempted to make the hashtag #SaveDinaAli trending, an attempt that probably was in vain from the start, as Twitter probably throttled that hashtag from the start. Dina Ali's fate was sealed when her uncles arrived in the Philippines, gagged and bound her arms and feet with duct tape, covered her in a bedsheet, beat her up and forced her onto a plane heading for Riyadh. All of this apparently happened under the eyes and guard of 5 Filipino police officers. Apparently in the Philippines, if you are a police officer, part of your job is to ensure the safety of kidnappers as they beat and kidnap a 24-year-old woman. And in the aftermath of these events, you could see Muslims on Arabic Twitter celebrating the kidnapping, even going so far as to praise an anticipated honor killing, calling for her execution to be public and even filmed, and other vile garbage. To quote, "Any whore who runs from her family deserves to be killed. It's how we wash our names." And prominent social justice figures outright mocking those who had attempted to help Dina Ali. In total, 3 things that catch one's eye: the corrupted nature of the Filipino state and its officials, who apparently have nothing better to do than watching women get kidnapped to then continue to lie about what happened, the way Twitter seems to have just throttled any attempt to make the public aware of this, and the slimy way social justice mock the efforts made to save that woman. The latter didn't surprise me at all. I know, for example, that Saudi women's rights activists were blocked by feminist activists such as Randy Lee Harper when trying to get advice from them. Little did they know that these people were just toxic ideologues who believe helping Saudi women is racist white-splaining. And some of them just don't care at all and would go so far as to just outright mock those who have been victims of Islamic fascism. The toxic alliance between social justice and Islamic fascism will never bring forward anything fruitful. Secondly, Twitter is just a lost cause. Jack enforces his social justice bullshit on this platform, and the throttling of both tweets and hashtags follows a very distinctive ideological line. When it comes to raising awareness to current events and urgent issues on Twitter, it is a lost cause. Nothing will ever come from that, since it is toxic ideologues and barbarians who by now dominate the discourse on that platform. Everything that is Islamic is protected and safeguarded on Twitter, and anything that criticizes it is inherently Islamophobic. In fact, trying to use Twitter as a platform to raise awareness of these issues is more likely to get you branded a racist rather than accomplishing anything. And about the corrupted authorities in the Philippines, the lesson to be learned from this is that any attempt to leave places like Saudi Arabia should never go through countries that are corrupted or corruptible to such an extent that they would assist in a kidnapping. That if you are Saudi and you wish to seek asylum in Australia, you should try your best to get a flight to Australia which doesn't go through one of those countries. I would also advise you, as a precaution, to avoid any Arab airlines such as Fly Emirates, Qatar Airlines and Etihad. Unfortunately, most stops on flights to Australia are in Malaysia, Indonesia and the Philippines and Vietnam, countries that I would personally not regard as trustworthy in that regard. If it has to be Australia, your best hope is to fly to the United States first and then continue to fly to Australia via Los Angeles. But since you would be in the United States, it would be kind of pointless since you can request asylum there. Which leads me to say in the end that if you live in a Gulf state and seek asylum abroad, it would be better for you to try and seek it in a European nation or in the United States or Canada. With the media ignoring all of this, Muslims openly mocking the victim, the indifference and lies of a corrupt government, social justice mocking those who tried to help. In the end, the sad reality is that the people who need help cannot rely on the goodwill of foreign governments, let alone the media or those who consistently proclaim to be the arbiters of goodwill. A Canadian woman tried to save Dina Ali at the airport and failed, so in the end I will advise you to get into direct contact with those in the free world who would wish to help you, since those who constantly proclaim to be the most helpful will merely leave you to your fate, ignoring your pleas for help and mocking those who tried their best.
My name is Dina Ali and I'm a Saudi woman who fled Saudi Arabia to Australia to seek asylum. I stopped in Philippines for translate. They took my passport and locked me for 13 hours just because I'm a Saudi woman with the cooperation of Saudi embassy. If my family come, they will kill me. If I go back to Saudi Arabia, I will be dead. Please help me. I'm recording this video to help me and know that I'm real and here. The Philippines government in Saudi violating human rights and international law. I'm kept here as a criminal. I can't do anything. I can't go out. They took my passport and all my papers because they are waiting for my family to come and take me, who really wants to kill me. If anything happens to me, that's on Philippines Airlines and the Saudi Arabia government.
There has been an update whilst I was editing this video together. First off, it turns out that the family of Dina Ali, together with the Saudi embassy, photoshopped screen caps of a conversation to frame Dina Ali as a thief who had stolen 200,000 in Saudi currency before hitching her flight. The fakery is pretty obvious here. Secondly, one of her uncles involved in her kidnapping is a senior figure in a Saudi telecommunications company operating in the Philippines with diplomatic connections. I suggest to you that you give a call or write to your local MP, congressman or other representative to tell them that you feel uncomfortable with Saudi business and diplomats in your area, if there are such, since it is by now a fact that Saudi businessmen and diplomats kidnap girls.